It's another day and another massive Ukrainian airstrike against Russia that has cost Vladimir Putin hundreds of millions of dollars in vital military assets. Crimea was once again the target of Ukraine's long-range weapons as the peninsula was lit up overnight in an attack that destroyed radars, fighter jets, and more. Russia still seems to believe that its military hardware is safe in Crimea. Time and time again, Ukraine proves that wrong. Ukraine has just wiped out some of Putin's unstoppable weapons, meaning Russia has just lost everything at a time when it's trying to project as much strength as possible. On December 18th, Ukraine carried out a massive overnight strike against the Belbek airfield, which is located in the Crimean city of Sevastopol. News Sky was among several outlets to report on Ukraine's latest deep strike, noting that long-range drones controlled by Alpha Special Operations Center of the Security Service of Ukraine, or SBU, were responsible for most of the damage caused. Ukraine targeted several types of Russian aerial assets during the attack, including a MiG-31 fighter jet, which is the jewel in the crown in the list of destroyed Russian equipment, several radar systems, and a Russian air defense unit. But this wasn't just about taking out Russia's eyes and aerial weapons. Ukraine once again inflicted some severe financial damage on Russia, with its overnight attack resulting in hundreds of millions of dollars that the Kremlin has invested into Crimea's defenses going up in flames. Though it's often reticent about the nature and scale of its airstrikes, the SBU seems to be proud enough of what it achieved during the early hours of December 18th to want to talk about it. In a Telegram post, the organization shared still photographs of the strike that appear to have been taken by Ukraine's drones, along with a rundown of what it achieved in Crimea. This night, long-range drones of the SBU's Alpha Special Operations Center successfully practiced on Russian air defense components at the Belbek military airfield in temporarily occupied Crimea, the SBU announced before sharing a list of the targets that its drones destroyed. The previously mentioned MiG-31 was among them, which the SBU says was worth up to $50 million and was fully loaded with weapons, likely in anticipation of conducting a strike against Ukraine in the coming hours. SBU drones also took out a pair of Nebo SVU radar detection systems, which are each worth about $60 to $100 million. A Pantsir S-2 air defense system also went up in flames, as did the $12 million that Russia would have spent to build it. And finally, Ukraine destroyed a 92N6 radar, which is used by Russia's S-400 air defense system, to take out another $30 million of Russian hardware. The total cost of the night for Russia, about $200 million. The SBU continues effective work to destroy air defense systems in Crimea, which cover important military and logistical facilities of the occupiers, the SBU declared before concluding. The elimination of the components of this echelon system significantly weakens the enemy's defense and military capabilities in the Crimean direction. So Russia lost a lot of money during the early hours of December 18th. However, it's the loss of hardware upon which Putin was relying to defend Crimea and launch attacks against Ukraine that will sting the most for Russia. We've already shared what Russia lost. However, to truly understand the damage that Ukraine just did, we need to know why these various systems are so important to Russia. Let's start with the headline strike of the night, the destruction of a MiG-31. In its report on Ukraine's strike, Militarny focused on the MiG-31, pointing out that the fighter jet has been designed to intercept and destroy aerial targets at both medium and high altitudes. This suggests that the jet was stationed at Belbek, ready to take to the skies to destroy the very types of weapons that just scored direct hits against it. The War Zone, or TWZ, also reports on the destruction of Russia's fighter jet, though it casts a little shade on the SBU's claims that the MiG-31 was carrying a full combat load at the time it was hit. Ukraine claims that the targeted MiG-31 was carrying a full combat load, although the available video reveals that it carries no armament under its wings, TWZ reports. Potentially, it carries air-to-air missiles below the fuselage, but the forward-mounted examples are also not visible. The outlet also says that the possibility of these aircraft being a decoy can't be ruled out, though it notes that a legitimate MiG-31 has been seen at the Belbek base sporadically over the last few weeks. Assuming the jet was the real deal, it will be the second MiG-31 that Russia has lost at Belbek, as well as only the second confirmed combat loss of a MiG-31 from the stockpile of about 130 that TWZ says Russia has at its disposal. Army Technology offers some more details, particularly about the types of weapons that Ukraine's drones may have destroyed, if the SBU's claim of the MiG-31 being fully armed is accurate. It says that Russia's jet can be loaded with a variety of air-to-air missiles, including the long-range Vympel R-33E, which uses inertial navigation to strike targets at extreme range. That missile is designed to take out massive targets such as bombers and even the B-52 Stratofortress. Russia may have hoped to keep its MiG-31 in Crimea in case Ukraine ever decided to launch a direct assault using some of its fighter jets or bombers. In the meantime, Russia may have been using the jet's short-range R-60 missiles and medium-range Biznovat R-40 missiles to take out incoming Ukrainian drones and missiles. The MiG-31 also has a 6-barrel 30mm cannon that it has stocked with 800 rounds and can fire at a rate of over 10,000 rounds per minute. It's unclear which, if any, of these weapons were loaded into the MiG-31 that the SBU says it just destroyed. Taking out any would be a good result for Ukraine. Though the MiG-31 may be among the most impactful air defense assets that Russia had stationed at its Belbek base, even the most powerful defensive weapons become less viable when there are no radars around to help them locate targets. Russia needs its eyes scanning the skies to anticipate Ukraine's drones and missiles, so it shouldn't be a surprise that Ukraine purposefully targeted some Russian radar systems during its December 18th attack against the Belbek base. That brings us to the Nebo SVU. 2 of them, in fact, have been devastated by the SBU's drones. New Sky calls these radar complexes the eyes of the Russian air defense in Crimea, as they're responsible for coordinating the actions of many of the air defense systems and fighter jets in the Belbek base. Odin explains why, pointing out the Nebo SVU is part of the Nebo family of very high-frequency radars that are capable of providing 2D and 3D data covering what's going on in the skies within their area of operation. The system entered service in 2004, and it has a host of intelligent systems that, among other things, allow it to identify friends from foes and suppress active jammers that would otherwise hinder its work. Odin says that the system can detect targets at a distance of up to 350 kilometers, or around 217 miles. Plus, a single Nebo SVU can track up to 100 targets simultaneously, which should make it the perfect choice for helping Russia's air defense systems to deal with Ukraine's drone hordes and missiles. The Nebo SVU is supposed to set them up so Russia's fighter jets and air defense systems can knock them down. Instead, 2 of these radar complexes appear to have utterly failed to detect Ukraine's drones, leading to them being taken out of the equation. It's unknown how many more, if any, of these systems the Belbek base has. If these were the only 2, then Ukraine may have just rendered the base's fighter jets and air defense systems utterly useless. Speaking of radars, it wasn't just the Nebo SVUs that Ukraine destroyed on December 18th. Its drones also targeted a 92N6E radar, which, as we already mentioned, is a key element of the S-400 air defense system. The loss of this radar could be a major blow for Russia, because losing it may mean that the entire S-400 battery stationed at Belbek is unable to fire, at least with any sort of precision, until it's replaced. That means another major cost has to be absorbed by Russia. New Sky says that the cost of losing the utility of this S-400 battery could be as high as $500 million, meaning Russia basically has a bunch of expensive military hardware sitting around and doing nothing due to a single 92N6E radar being taken out of commission. Army Recognition describes what this radar does, noting that it has the NATO codename Gravestone, and that it has an extremely advanced mobile radar system. Like the Nebo SVU, the 92N6E radar is capable of tracking up to 100 targets at once, and it can do so while providing full 360-degree coverage from wherever it's placed. Drones shouldn't be able to escape its notice, as the radar was designed to track everything from low-altitude aircraft to ballistic missiles. Specifically, the radar should be capable of tracking targets flying as low as 20 meters, or about 65.6 feet off the ground, and those targets should show up once they come within 300 kilometers, or 186 miles of the radar. If all of this is accurate, Ukraine's drones shouldn't have stood a chance, but none of this was enough for the radar system to alert its network S-400s of the incoming Ukrainian drones before those drones took it offline for good. Finally, there's the Pantsir S-2 air defense system that the SBU claims to have destroyed. A short-range system, the Pantsir S-2 is capable of hitting targets within a range of 30 kilometers, or about 18.6 miles, thanks to new surface-to-air missiles that are upgraded from those loaded into the Pantsir S-1. The system also comes equipped with its own radar, which has a detection range of about 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles more than the Pantsir's missile range. The idea here is that the radar tracks and the missiles destroy, with enough of a range difference between the two to allow time for the Pantsir to send its weaponry hurtling into the skies. If those 12 57E6E missiles fail, the Pantsir S-2 also comes with a pair of 2A38M 30mm anti-aircraft guns that have a combined fire rate of about 5,000 rounds per minute. Those guns can shoot rounds in bursts of up to 250 at a time, and they're meant to be the quick-firing backup for when the air defense system's missiles fail to hit their mark. To sum up, all 4 pieces of equipment that Ukraine